The custody coup. Michael's bold move reshapes Port Charles in a stunning shift that has left Port Charles reeling. Michael Corinthos has re-emerged from the shadows with a bold, calculated move that upended the lives of everyone around him, especially his ex-wife, Willow. The events that unfolded on May 28, 2025, in General Hospital marked not just another chapter in an ongoing family feud, but a masterstroke in strategic planning that many never saw coming. After weeks of quietly monitoring the emotional deterioration of his family's dynamic, Michael returned to Port Charles not as the broken man some expected, but as a decisive father determined to protect his children from what he perceived as a toxic environment. In a series of rapid maneuvers executed with near-military precision, Michael mobilized his allies, Jason Morgan and Sasha Gilmore, into action. While the nurses' ball drew much of the town's attention, Michael used the distraction to gather Wiley from the venue himself. Meanwhile, Jason and Sasha retrieved Amelia from Drew and Willow's care. The three reconvened at Carly's home, turning her estate into a fortress of familial solidarity. This was not merely a spontaneous act of desperation. What the public would soon learn is that Michael's operation had the backing of legal documentation and the silent support of those closest to him. It was a plan built on weeks of meticulous preparation. And it worked. The news of the children's removal hit Willow and Drew like a freight train. In a moment of panic, they rushed to the Port Charles Police Department, urging Commissioner Mac Scorpio to treat the incident as a kidnapping. But Mac, ever a man of law, knew better than to act on emotions. Shortly after visiting Carly's residence and confirming the situation firsthand, he returned not with arrest warrants, but with a legal court order. Michael had been granted temporary sole custody of both Wiley and Amelia, effective immediately and standing until a scheduled court hearing the following week. For Willow, the blow was both legal and emotional. This wasn't a battle lost in court, it was a battle she never knew had begun. The realization that Michael had quietly maneuvered behind the scenes, involving lawyers, trusted confidants, and possibly even old Newman family allies, crushed her. It wasn't just about the loss of custody, it was the sense of betrayal, the haunting awareness that the man she once loved had been planning this while she remained oblivious. Desperate to salvage what remained of her maternal role, Willow made her way to Carly's home. With trembling hands and tearful eyes, she knocked on the door, hoping to reach Michael's humanity. When he opened the door, their eyes met not as lovers or even co-parents, but as adversaries. She pleaded, heartbroken, asking him not to take her children away. But Michael stood firm. In his view, this wasn't revenge, it was justice. It was a course correction. He reminded her, with calm detachment, that everything he did was by the book, validated by the courts, and ultimately in the best interest of the children. As Willow stood in Carly's doorway, haunted by the faces of her children now separated from her by law, one thing became clear: this was no temporary family disagreement. It was a war for control, trust, and identity, and Michael had just drawn the first blood. But that wasn't the only revelation rocking Port Charles. Across town, Nina Reeves was unraveling a mystery of her own, one that could eventually connect to Michael's custody gambit in ways no one expected. After another argument with Willow, Nina met with Maxie Jones at the Metro Court, hoping to vent and regroup. What began as a casual chat quickly turned into an accidental revelation when Maxie, perhaps unintentionally, mentioned that Sasha had met the father of her child the night before Halloween. This minor detail ignited something in Nina. Why had Sasha never revealed this information? And more importantly, who was the man? Driven by her relentless need to uncover the truth, Nina began retracing Sasha's steps. She visited the bar where the Halloween party had been held, questioning the bartender on duty that night. To her surprise, the man vividly recalled Sasha being there, but not with Jason, the man Nina had initially suspected. She showed the bartender a photo of Jason Morgan, and he quickly shook his head. That wasn't him. Then came the second photo, Michael Corinthos. The bartender paused. Something in his expression changed. Nina's heart pounded. Had Michael been the one with Sasha that night? Was he the mysterious father of Sasha's baby, a child that, until now, had existed on the margins of every conversation? If what Nina suspected was true, the implications were staggering. Michael wasn't just fighting for the children everyone knew about, he may have another child, one hidden in plain sight, the result of a long-buried secret between him and Sasha. And if Nina could prove it, it would shatter the carefully constructed narrative Michael had spun around himself. Nina knew she needed more than speculation. She needed proof. DNA, eyewitnesses, perhaps even a confession. But as she walked away from that bar, a storm was beginning to brew inside her. She had lost too much: her daughter's trust, her credibility, and her access to her grandchildren. If this secret could restore any of that, she was willing to risk everything to uncover it. Back at Carly's, Jason watched the emotional carnage unfold from the sidelines. His loyalty to Michael had always been unshakable, but even he couldn't ignore the rising tension between the Corinthos and Quartermain legacies. With Nina on a warpath and Willow teetering on emotional collapse, Jason began to question whether the battle Michael had launched could be won without burning every bridge left in their path. As the city buzzed with whispers and tension, one thing was undeniable: Port Charles had entered a new era. The lines had been redrawn. Allies and enemies were shifting. And in the center of it all stood Michael Corinthos, a man transformed by fatherhood, betrayal, and vengeance. The custody war was only the beginning. The secret still buried beneath the surface had the power to tear apart families, friendships, and reputations. And as court loomed, one question haunted everyone. Was Michael protecting his children, or protecting himself?